Hey, welcome back to the Pitching Lab Pitchcast. We talk about the science of baseball without all the scientific stuff. I am on with one of my favorite players I've ever worked with today, former Sanford Mainer, hopefully current Sanford Mainer as well, pitcher for Franklin and Marshall, Bijan Anvar. Good to see you, and how you been?
I've been good. I appreciate you having me on. It's
Absolutely.
It's been a while since summer, but it was a good summer.
Yeah,
happy to be coming back.
For good reasons and bad. It was, God, I still... Someday I'll go back and watch the tape.
I watch it quite often.
It was a great season for the Mainers. For those that didn't follow the Mainers, number one, what are you doing? But number two, we were within, I want to say, an out, a strike, a pitch of a championship, and didn't break our way. But that just makes it more exciting to go back and try and do it again this year.
Absolutely.
Good to see you. You are at Franklin and Marshall this year and have been. But one of the things we want to talk to you about today is your journey through the portal and your transferring next year and all that's going to entail for you as a player. But first things first, we always like to get started. Talk to us a little bit about what's your baseball journey been like to get you to this point.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, I started normally just like a kid playing baseball. Fell in love with the sport. I played baseball, basketball all my life growing up. And around my junior year of high school, COVID hit. And that was kind of a big shift. It was like you saw half the people who I played with, they would kind of wean out of the sport, stop playing as competitively. And then the people that wanted to stick with it, stuck with it and looked to play at the next level, which was college. We had a pretty great high school program, Mamaroneck High School in New York. We had a really talented group. And so junior year got canceled. We got canceled then. We didn't play a season. We played a summer season before that. And then going into my senior year, I committed to F&M. It was the only school I had. I was throwing probably 76 to 78 miles an hour, roughly, going into my senior year of high school.
That's changed dramatically.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And so, I've definitely came a long way in that sense. But my senior year, we started normal COVID, just like, I had to wear masks in game. But I was committed to F&M, among a bunch of other commits on my team. And we made a pretty good run. I had a nice senior year, and I got to F&M, and I loved it. I fell in love with it immediately. It's a small school, for those who don't know, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And it's awesome. It's about 2,000 students, competes in the Centennial Conference, Division III. And it's great. It's a super high academic school, but also plays in a great conference with a bunch of great teams. So it's been a fun journey, super competitive. My freshman year, I played kind of a semi-roll out of the pen. I threw like 19 and 2/3 innings. With like a 5 ERA. I was just, adjusting to college baseball. Better hitters, smaller zone. I felt like that was the biggest thing for me, just continuing to fill up the strike zone. And then sophomore year, I saw a little bit of a velocity jump. My freshman year, I was around like 80 to 83, like would touch 84, 85, like every so often. And then sophomore spring, I was like 85, 87, like touching 88. So that put me in a pretty good spot to compete at the level we were competing at. And I threw around 43 innings my sophomore year.
You pretty much more than doubled what you threw as a freshman. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then my junior year was the biggest jump I had made. I was throwing in the winter around like 87 to 89, touching 90. And I came out and we had a really talented team. Started our first game in North Carolina against Penn State Harrisburg. And then I threw against Montclair State. And then we went down to Florida for our trip. And against the team down there, my elbow kind of gave out. And it wasn't a full tear. It was a UCL sprain, which is like a grade 2 UCL sprain. So not surgical, but I was out for the remainder of the year. And I was able to luckily get my medical redshirt year. So that puts me at where we'll get into later about the portal. But so I finished out my junior year at F&M, unfortunately not playing, not making much of an impact on the field. It was tough mentally, kind of dragging. I didn't really know like where I was going from there. And I was supposed to be playing in Sanford. I didn't know how that was going to pan out, just because I didn't know if I was going to be back. So I just hammered the recovery process and worked with a physical therapist, took the rest I needed, and I ended up coming back feeling really good. And I was able to put on a little bit of weight, get a little bit stronger, and ended up having a pretty decent summer in Sanford and enjoyed the hell out of it. So it was great.
It's great for us. It's weird to hear that journey, because obviously the version of you that I met is that came in and pitched great for us. And it was really great, because I remember first meeting you and talking me through the UCL and thinking, oh gosh, I mean, if this guy can just get through the summer healthy, that's a win. And to not only do that, but to really be lights out was awesome. You bring a really great intensity. You pitched in one of the weirder games we played in. I think it's one of 2 times I've seen you mad during the season.
Yeah,
we played with Montpelier, and it kept being foggy, and then it wasn't foggy, and it would be foggy, and it would, and they kind of would pull you out for a minute, and they test the fog. At one point, if I remember correctly, the umpire was physically having someone hit fly balls to the outfield.
Yeah, he was hitting like fungus
to see if they could see the ball or not. Yeah, that was an odd one. I feel like we were up there forever.
Right.
But yeah, it was great. And that's a really cool. I forget how many of players your age and if are affected by that COVID year, and kind of where they came into it. It affects kind of eligibility and progression and things like that. It was hard to get together in practice. So, no, it's awesome that you're where you are now, and that you have so much love and appreciation for that program. But you made the point, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I know you entered into the transfer portal and kind of navigated that and kind of have an end result. Can you talk a little bit about that? I know that we have players that kind of look at that, and it's so new with that and the NILs and stuff like that don't really understand the reality of it. They just think if they don't like it somewhere, they go somewhere else. What was that process like for you, and where'd you end up?
So I'm committed to the University of Richmond, and it's a pretty great opportunity. I'm really excited about it. Beautiful campus, great program, great coaches. But in that essentially me and my coach have a great relationship at F&M. Coach Horning, he's one of the best people I've ever met, and he kind of guided me through the process. And F&M doesn't have a grad school. And so that was one of the big things. I couldn't have stayed here for my 5th year.
Yeah, sure.
So I knew I wanted to stay at F&M for my senior year. I wanted to finish it out there. I wanted to graduate from F&M and continue to win with this team, because it's some of my best friends. And I knew like it had what I needed to continue to get better. So it wasn't like I was missing out on anything. But so I entered the portal after the season as a grad transfer for the 2025-2026 season. And that process was a little confusing at first. I mean, you enter the portal and you're getting all these calls from schools and random numbers.
Oh, really? So it's that aggressive where people see you in there and they're really coming. Wow.
Yeah, especially
how many schools
as
do you
a Division
think?
III guy.
How many schools do you think ultimately reached out to you?
I don't know. I mean, it was a bunch of different levels and stuff, like a bunch of JUCOs, Division IIIs, Division IIs, Division I. So there was a lot. I mean, there were some where I was more excited about and some that I wasn't as excited about. But overall, I was just like, I didn't really know where I was going to pan out. I mean, I didn't pitch a season, so I was open to anything. Like, really, I didn't know. Like, I mean, if you never know like what level you're capable of playing at, especially coming off an injury, because I didn't have anything to be like, oh yeah, I was 90-92 all season, and I was first team all conference. Like I threw 12 innings and they weren't amazing, so I didn't really know. I wasn't like, set on anything. Division I, Division II, Division III, JUCO. Like I was hearing everybody out, and I enjoyed the process. It was definitely stressful, but it was honestly what I needed to just like build confidence back and understand that like, okay, like people are watching my clips and my videos and looking at my build and like the way I pitch, and just like seeing that, okay, like there is something in here that we may want. So it gave me the confidence that I actually am the pitcher that I think I am, and I'll be all good once I get through this injury. So yeah, I ended up committing to Richmond. It was one of the first schools that reached out to me, and the coaches were awesome. And I think the big thing too is like, they were really interested in me, which was out of the same feeling I had with Coach Horning here at F&M. And I love my experience where, he really wanted me to come to F&M, and I wasn't just, like another recruit that they're bringing in. The coaching staff really got to know me and my journey. And it was nice to be able to see how people, want to hear your story and want to connect to you on a deeper level than like the impact you're going to make on the field for them. So that was definitely something I liked about Richmond. They also have a great grad program in terms of academics. So, and I felt like the schools kind of matched up well with the stuff that like F&M has taught me and the type of education I get here. They're pretty similar schools in terms of academia. So I know I made the right decision. Yeah.
That's excellent. What are you going to be pursuing in grad school?
So it's a master's of liberal arts. Which seems broad, and it is, but
that makes sense for you though. You're one of those guys. You're one of the most interesting players I've ever met as far as life away from the field. You have a lot of different things going on, not just that typical athletics. You have other interests and other things that you enjoy.
Yeah, so
I
that
think
master's,
that makes a lot of sense.
It's like the MLA is what they call it, and it allows me to kind of create my own master's in a sense. So I can kind of pursue. So there's like these 3 general education requirements that you've got to fulfill, and then in that I can, like you talked about, the video stuff that I do. I could take and choose the video business courses and different things that I might want to take to kind of choose the field that I want to depth in within that master's. So
okay.
Pretty cool
So
opportunity.
wow, that's an interesting customization. Wow, geez, that's very cool.
Yeah, it'll be great.
All right. And you felt, when you were dealing with the portal stuff, it almost sounds like the high school recruiting process all over again. I think most people think of the portal as players reaching out to a school and not as much about the incoming stuff. Did you find that it was a better experience than high school, where the coach is a little more sincere and a little more understood? Or did you find that that bottom tier was still kind of a lot of fluff and them just basically looking at height, weight statistics and shooting out invitations to you?
Well, essentially, like, I don't know. My high school process was a little different just because of COVID, so I can't really speak fully on that. But in terms of like the way I felt about the transfer portal stuff, like the coaches were, there were spectrums. Like different coaches wanted to see different things, but a lot of the stuff was like, a lot of questions about my story. Like, okay, why do I have this extra year? Like, they want to know about the injury. They want to know how I'm coming back from it. They want to know, obviously coming from a school like F&M, a lot of them is just assume that you're a good student because F&M kind of holds that standard. So grades weren't really an issue there. And then really just like, seeing how you're going to fit into the program. There's some schools where I didn't like try and sell myself short on anything because like, you never know where you might fit in. There might be a situation where I don't know, watching this, it's kind of hard to tell, but I'm like a 6'2", 6'3", like pretty skinny, lengthy kid. So you never know, like if one certain program has had success with a build like me or a pitcher like me, or, for Richmond, one of my friends, Kyle Roach, he was at F&M when I was a freshman, sophomore, and he did his grad year at Richmond and was their Friday guy last year. So, they know that they've got trust in our program. And they've had success with it. So for them, they were like, we know the way Kyle worked, like Bijan might be similar, I guess. Yeah. I'm guessing, but.
No, I think that networking and that trust and that program credibility does play a huge role in it. Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, so you never know. I guess just reach out to anybody, and, the worst thing that happens is they just say no.
Yeah, sure.
That was kind of the mindset I was taking on it, and it ended up panning out.
That's awesome. Yeah. Are you, do you know if you're back, or I don't know if you can say, are you back in Sanford this summer?
Yeah, as of now. I signed the contract, so yeah.
Nice.
I'm excited about it. I'm trying to win a chip.
Me too. That's going to be awesome. Great.
It'll be fun.
Well, before I know what everybody does in Sanford for fun. I don't need to ask you about that because they go and sit at Applebee's. Although I feel like last year you were too young to enjoy all of that Applebee's had to offer.
I did, but I hung out in the Gunquit and
Yeah, it's a great little tourist area.
I like to surf, so that was fun for me being by the water.
Very cool. Well, that kind of leads me, before we wrap up, to the last part of it. What's a day away from the field like for you? What are you into? What do you do? And what kind of keeps you occupied when you're not training or playing?
Yeah, I mean, at F&M, like I said, it's a tough school, so a lot of schoolwork. And I mean, now that I'm a senior, it's kind of dwindled out a little bit. I'm only taking 3 classes for my last semester in undergrad, so I got a little bit of a lighter load this semester, but still got to get your work done. And I mean, we have a pretty close pitching staff, so we do a lot of stuff together. In our locker room, we have ping pong, an Xbox, we got an ice bath, sauna, so we do a lot of that stuff together, just like recovery and stuff like that. And then like really, really off the field, Lancaster's a pretty cool spot. Like, it's kind of like a city, so it's got a lot to offer, a lot of cool food spots, like shopping, and so we always go hang out in the city or get some food together. And yeah, I mean, I do a lot of videography.
You have a beautiful area out there to do it. Jeez.
Yeah, so I try when I can. It's a little bit harder in baseball season to get out and shoot some stuff, but it's definitely, I enjoy it. I'm a joint major here, so essentially you just like double major, like you major in 2 things. So I do business and then film production. So it allows me to kind of keep my hands on the camera and keep filming. So yeah, it's kind of what a day off.
Only way to get better at it, for sure. So
yeah,
very cool.
Absolutely.
I'm glad I caught up with you. I'm glad we got to have you on. I'm very excited to follow your season. More excited to see you in the summer, but I know things go well for the spring. But I appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate you talking us through the portal process, and hopefully get you back on sometime in the future. I really appreciate talking to you.
Yeah, for sure, Coach. Thank you.
No problem. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.